The excitement, I certainly feel like we've been ready cricket-wise for a long time, so I think it's just anticipation and excitement. Obviously a lot of talk about a big crowd, big tournament and a big clash to kick it off. So all things that I think the boys are just very, very excited about. I imagine we'd like to deny early wickets against whoever's bowling, so that's just a basic game plan regardless of who takes it. I certainly think England rely heavily on being able to take those early wickets. I certainly think our best cricket is played when we don't give other teams early wickets.
It's very simple. India is going to win. I think we have always won against Pakistan. I think they get nervous against us in World Cup, and this time again we will beat them.
For me, MS Dhoni plays an important role because he's the one who is cool amongst all the players from India. So if he's calm on the field, then the rest 10 are also calm. And Virat plays an important role for me because he's the one who's aggressive and he'll keep Pakistan on the back foot.
Something we're really looking forward to. Like I said, I've played here a few times before, and I know the atmosphere that 90 odd thousand people can create, and it's something that, as a cricketer, you want to play in games like this. You want to play in front of big crowds and show off your skills and your talent in front of them, and hopefully we can do that tomorrow. We're going to go out there and concentrate on what we do. We're going to try and be aggressive with the ball up front, all the way through the innings, try and take wickets. Our main job is to get him out, not to rile him up, so we'll be concentrating on that.
Well, you had quite a lot during that break. We brought you the Australian angle to it. You had the Indian fans also speaking about their game against Pakistan, and you had the English cricketers as well talk about their game, first game against Australia. Yeah, let's come to you now very quickly. What is the African interest in all of this? We know South Africa, very, very passionate. Yeah. The huge cricket-playing nation. We know Zimbabwe are also going to be there. Those are the two African teams, I think. Yeah. Two African teams at this competition. What are their chances?
Both are in Pool B. Before we even talk about them, let's spare a thought for India and Pakistan. Everything is just like Nigeria and Ghana. Everything Nigeria-Ghana is fiercely competitive. And even in 1992, when Pakistan won, they still lost to India. And Indian fans still want to have that bragging rights. They will take beating Pakistan over anything in this world. So I'd love to see what goes down on Sunday because they're in Pool B. Going to Africa, incidentally, South Africa and Zimbabwe will play themselves first. I don't know why it happened like that, but that's the African interest for you. And the Proteas, as the South African team is known, has some recognizable faces. Yeah,
top quality players.
Top quality. I remember rooting for them in the last edition, 2011. They won, India won, and they didn't do badly. They have players like their batsman, most popular, Ashim Hamla, with that funny-looking beard and shaven head, very popular, Jack Scalise, and some other star players for South Africa. So it's going to be interesting, and they're not doing too badly on the ranking as well. They're somewhere up there. So I don't know. From what I've said, I think it tilts somehow towards South Africa. But if you're asking,
giving Africa a
the best representation at this. But if you're asking me if any one of them
has a chance of winning,
can win,
it's a tough one.
It's a tough one. But I think South Africa
outside chance of winning.
Should be in the mix.
They beat New Zealand in the T20.
Yes.
Well, that for
That's
me,
another form of
it holds very little compared to what we are having here. But then it just shows what quality they can bring to the party. Yeah,
it shows on their good day. They can't beat the best teams, and they've showed that in recent times, and with the kind of training they've had. We remember last year that even though they lost to Australia in the test, but of course they're a good side. They're a good side. Initially, I didn't mention their captain, A.B. de Villiers. I mean, experienced players in that.
It's a huge cricket playing nation.
Yes,
huge one. I mean, you could see when they were leaving, there was a huge party, Protea Fire. I mean, that's the hashtag of support for the Proteas.
And everyone on the streets putting on the
Protea
jersey, that's
showing
that has
support.
all the South African, all the colors on the South African flag. So it's going to be interesting as everything starts tomorrow. It's going to be interesting. Of course, the reaction in Melbourne and Christchurch. So we'll begin to monitor as all those things happen and see how it goes. But of course, I'll be rooting for the Proteas. And that's my #1 cricket team. And of course, you understand the reason I'm African.
Okay, that's the African feel to it. Yemi wants to root for the Protea to go all the way at the Cricket World Cup. But let me read a few comments on Twitter. You are not the only one, Yemi. Chuka Achuchogu at Chuka Ahuchogu says, I'm tipping South Africa to win the World Cup. He's talking about the Cricket World Cup there. Olusegun Mokuolu says, the Cricket World Cup opening ceremony is awesome. Yeah, it happened yesterday. And he says it almost matched the football tournament opening ceremony. That is debatable.
It depends on which side of the divide you are. It depends on which side.
And it goes on to say, if we take cricket very seriously in Nigeria, we will dominate Africa for many years because there are a lot of kids waiting to be discovered. And I think the challenge for us in this part of the world, we play a lot of cricket. And interestingly, cricket has a long history. In Nigeria, in
at
schools,
some point, we just cut off.
It just fizzled out. It just fizzled out.
We still have some schools in Nigeria
who still play cricket. But we need to invest heavily in cricket.
Put the structure on ground.
Put the structure on ground and turn out champions.
Invest into the game. Nurture the youths. It will take us a while before we get to the stage where South Africa, Zimbabwe, maybe Kenya are in, to be honest. But like the guy said, I believe that the talent that's never
whatever kind of sports you want to do. You can be sure that in Nigeria, you will have talents for
in abundance.
In abundance. It's just a matter of putting the structure together and developing it from the grassroots and maybe make it appeal to a lot more people. Ifedayo at a Big Blessing 052 say cricket is a beautiful game, but why is the game not acceptable in Nigeria like the other sports? I think we should focus more on cricket. I mean, that's the message we're also trying to push. We can do a lot more. We can do a lot more. Diversify our sports.
Pay attention to other
cricket,
sports.
rugby. I mean, let's do a lot more. Okay. KC Omojine, our good friend at KC Gine, says if we had widespread facilities, especially in schools for other sports, it will undo our monosport culture. That's a lawyer. I mean, you can even sense it in the way he's using the language. We are not a monosport country. We should be multi-sport country, and cricket should be one of it. Every 4 years, this comes around. South Africans are always there in the forefront. Rugby, the same thing. We can also begin to look at that as well in Nigeria. Diversify our sports, get a lot more young people involved.
And if you see countries that are multi-sport nation, go and check it all across. Football is not usually their #1 sport. So whatever happens in football, it doesn't put the nation in money mood. You could almost feel like someone died when we didn't qualify for the Nations Cup. It shouldn't be so. Other sports should bring us joy. Other sports should unite us. Should do what football does for us. And I'm hoping we'll get to that point where we'll love other sports
and give it a kind of attention.
Maybe not as we love football, but raise the bar somewhat, that other sports will get the needed attention.
We're talking about some former South African stars. We talked about Callis, and somebody says Callis has retired from international cricket. He doesn't play for the Proteas anymore. The Gifashino says cricket should take up right from the grassroots. That's what it says. And Olariwaju says, I know some secondary school still play cricket in Nigeria. I wish the government would develop them. He's sending in this tweet from the United States of America. I mean, I know that in the early 50s, 60s, schools were already playing cricket. But unfortunately, the growth of cricket in Nigeria hasn't really measured up to the number of years we've been playing it. And I hope that will change. Things like the Cricket World Cup should make us change our approach.
And we're talking about South Africa, even without loving cricket. Some of those names I mentioned, you just hear them.
You know
just hear them.
I mean, they are repeated over. They are
and I'm even happy.
Stars.
Somebody is even reminding me that one of those guys
has retired.
Has retired,
and is not playing anymore.
You know, that's how important the game is in some parts of the world, and I think we should emulate that.
All right. So we'll thank you for the updates.
Yeah.
So we'll see you again on Monday.
Hopefully. Yeah.
All right. So we'll see you again on Monday, and hopefully there will be plenty to talk about from the Cricket World Cup that is starting off this weekend. Thank you, Yemi, for that. All right. Let's go on a quick break now. When we return from the break, what next for us on Sports Tonight? Let's talk football. talking football. The Super Eagles of Nigeria are going to be playing a friendly game in March. Dum Nojo Konta will be coming in to talk to us about it. We will also, as we promised you on the show yesterday, be giving you a preview of the CAF Under-17 tournament starting in Niger this weekend. Not only that, we will also be talking about the 4 Nigerian clubs beginning their campaign for continental glory this weekend. So there's plenty to talk about. Join us again.